The story of how Kwame Nkrumah came to be the founder and leader of the Convention People's Party, CPP, which led the final push for independence for the Gold Coast, now Ghana, is well known in many circles. He was invited by the leadership of the United Gold Coast Convention, UGCC, founded in Ghana in August 1947, to seek self-government from the British colonial rule within the shortest possible time. He arrived in Ghana in December of that year from his studies abroad to take up the position of General Secretary of the UGCC. Disagreements between Dr. Nkrumah and the party leadership on the pace of the independence struggle after the 1948 riots and the subsequent arrest of the Big Six led to a fallout, with Kwame Nkrumah later breaking away to form his own party, the CPP, in 1949, adopting the red cockerel as its symbol with the motto "Self-Government Now." In the February 1951 legislative election, the first general election to be held under universal franchise in colonial Africa, the CPP was elected in a landslide, securing 34 of the 38 seats contested on a party basis, with Dr. Nkrumah elected for his Accra constituency. The UGCC won 3 seats and 1 was taken by an independent candidate. Years later, in another election on 15 June 1954, the CPP won 71 seats, with the Regional Northern People's Party forming the official opposition. Several petitions and disagreements later, when the Colonial Secretary, Alan Lennox Boyd, finally agreed to hold a general election in Gold Coast, and if a reasonable majority took the CPP's position, Britain would set a date for independence. The results of the July 1956 election were almost identical to those from 4 years before, and on 3rd August, the Assembly voted for independence under the name Nkrumah had proposed in April, Ghana. In September, the Colonial Office announced Independence Day would be 6th March 1957, with Dr. Kwame Nkrumah as its first Prime Minister. Ghana became a republic in July of 1960, and Dr. Nkrumah became the first president of the country.
At long last, the battle has ended. And thus, Ghana, your beloved country, is free forever.
As Prime Minister, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah had to deal with unrest almost immediately after he took office. He had a goal to eliminate tribalism. Under his leadership, Dr. Nkrumah succeeded in reducing the political importance of the local chieftaincy, which was dominated by the Asantehene and other Akan chiefs at that time. In 1964, Dr. Nkrumah proposed a constitutional amendment making the CPP the only legal party, with Kwame Nkrumah as president for life of both nation and party. The amendment passed with 99.91% of the vote, transforming his presidency into what some called a de facto legal dictatorship. In the area of education, Osajefo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah is credited for setting up the Ghana National College, among others. In 1964, Dr. Nkrumah brought forth the 7-year development plan for national reconstruction and development, which identified education as a key source of development and called for the expansion of secondary technical schools. Dr. Nkrumah was an ardent promoter of Pan-Africanism, seeing the movement as the quest for regional integration of the whole of the African continent. Reflecting his African heritage, Kwame Nkrumah frequently eschewed Western fashion, donning a fugu, which is a northern attire made with southern-produced kente cloth, a symbol of his identity as a representative of the entire country. Laws passed in 1959 and 1960 designated special positions in Parliament to be held by women. In 1957, Dr. Nkrumah created a well-funded Ghana News Agency to generate domestic news and disseminate it abroad. Nkrumah consolidated state control over newspapers, establishing the Ghanaian Times in 1958 and then in 1962 obtaining its competitor, the Daily Graphic, the Mirror Group of London. The Gold Coast Broadcasting Service was established in 1954 and revamped as the Ghana Broadcasting Corporation, GBC. Before celebrations of May Day 1963, Dr. Nkrumah went on television to announce, among other things, the introduction of a national pledge and the beginning of a national flag salute in schools. As the Gold Coast had been among the wealthiest and most socially advanced areas in Africa, with schools, railways, hospitals, social security, and an advanced economy, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah attempted to rapidly industrialize Ghana's economy. Dr. Nkrumah's time in office began successfully. Forestry, fishing, and cattle breeding expanded. Production of cocoa, Ghana's main export, doubled, and modest deposits of bauxite and gold were exploited more effectively under his leadership. The construction of a dam on the Volta River, launched in 1961, water for irrigation and hydroelectric power, which produced enough electricity for the towns and for a new aluminium plant. Dr. Nkrumah initiated the Ghana Nuclear Reactor Project in 1961, created the Ghana Atomic Energy Commission in 1963, and in 1964 laid the first stone in the building of an atomic energy facility. A 7-year plan, introduced in 1964, focused on further industrialization, emphasizing domestic substitutes for common imports, modernization of the building materials industry, machine making, electrification, and electronics. On February 21, 1966, Osajifo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah left Ghana on a state visit to Hanoi, the Vietnamese capital, ostensibly to broker a peace deal to end the American war in Vietnam. On February 24, 1966, the Ghana Police and the Ghana Armed Forces, aided and abetted by forces of imperialism, took advantage of his absence and staged a bloody coup that overthrew his government. The coup, led by Major Emmanuel Kwesi Kotoka, was codenamed Operation Cold Chop. Osajifo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah went into exile in Guinea at the invitation of his friend, President Sékou Touré, the president of Guinea, who appointed him honorary co-president of his country. He stayed in Guinea for 6 years. In 1971, he fell sick and was flown to Bucharest, Romania, for treatment. He was diagnosed of prostate cancer, and on April 27, 1972, he died. The government then, the National Redemption Council, NRC, under the leadership of Colonel Ignatius Kutu Champong, engaged in a protracted negotiation for his remains to be flown to Ghana. He was buried in his hometown in Loflor in the Western Region on July 9, 1972. It is significant to note that the casket that contained his body had this inscription written boldly on it: "The Great African," an acknowledgement of the fact that he was truly a great son of Africa. On July 1, 1992, the Provisional National Defense Council, PNDC, under the late Flight Lieutenant Jerry John Rawlings, transferred his remains to the Kwame Nkrumah Mausoleum, a tomb which was constructed to honor his memory. It serves as a tourist destination which has been attracting many visits from all over the world. Incidentally, that place was the polo grounds where he declared Ghana's independence from Great Britain on March 6, 1957. Over his lifetime, Kwame Nkrumah was awarded honorary doctorates by many universities, including Lincoln University, Pennsylvania, Moscow State University, USSR, Cairo University, Egypt, among others. He was voted African Man of the Millennium by listeners to the BBC World Service, being described by the BBC as a hero of independence and an international symbol of freedom, as the leader of the first black African country to shake off the chains of colonial rule. Today, 50 years after his death, he is remembered as a man of vision and foresight far beyond his peers at his time.